What's up, Headless Horde? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about episode 2 of Rings of Power. Guys, don't forget to smash that like, subscribe if you're new, and if you have not checked out my review for episode 1, click over here and check that out before you watch this video. We're going to go ahead and get this thing started up the right way, and let's start it off with Khazad-dûm. The opening scene shows us Durin. We did not see him in episode 1. So we see Durin and his wife Disa, and they are adjusting to their new life as King Durin has stripped his son of his title. Don't forget that the Durin we see in this scene is Durin the Fourth. His father is Durin the Third. Yes, it's a lot of the same names, just like they do in House of the Dragon. During a market trip, Disa senses a disturbance of corruption from Mount Doom because this reached the Dwarven Kingdom, causing pretty much widespread damage. We even see the bridge that we saw so many times in Season 1. It gets completely wiped out by all the falling debris. Then we head over back to Linden, where we just saw in the last episode the beautiful shot of the tree regrowing its leaves, the golden leaves, absolutely beautiful. So here this time we see Galadriel, and she's being troubled by visions since receiving her ring. Remember, it fell down the stairs and she picked it up and decided to put it on. We see her arguing that Sauron's goals extend beyond Mordor and involve conquering all of Middle-earth through these rings. And I think this is what Elrond was trying to tell them, and this is why he was trying to get rid of them in the first episode. She requests permission from Gil-galad to go visit Celebrimbor and Aragion, but Gil-galad actually refuses, fearing she is too vulnerable to Sauron's influence. We then head back to Aragion, and we see that Halbrand is being denied entry by Celebrimbor, and he refuses to leave. So he's just staying outside the gates, refuses to leave, and he's just kind of hanging out. Celebrimbor, then, he doesn't want to let him in. He knows that he was there during the whole creation of the rings to begin with. I don't know at this point if he really truly knows who it is. As far as it being Halbrand, remember, at this point, he has no idea this is Sauron. He has no idea. But they actually make it rain, and that also does not make Halbrand actually leave. We then head on over to a brand new character, and this is played by the same actor that played Mance Rayder in Game of Thrones, and he is just known as the Dark Wizard. And he and his followers are hunting the stranger because they believe that if they capture him, they can harness his power. We find out that one of his acolytes were not able to capture him, so he sends out a mortal who he doesn't really believe can do this. And when he goes to ask him, how are you going to do it? He basically is like, he's traveling with some halflings. So, you know, remember, he's traveling with Nori and Poppy, who are the Harfoots. And he's like, I'm just going to threaten to kill them, and that will force him to surrender. We then head back over to Nori, Poppy, and the stranger, and they are really struggling at this point. In episode 1, we did see some struggle in the desert, but now we see that they are really facing the dangerous terrain and obviously the looming threat from the Dark Wizard's scavengers. They decided to take a shortcut to avoid capture, and later on we will see exactly what happens there. But we're heading back over to Khazad-dûm. We get the aftermath. So the dwarves are struggling with dwindling resources and internal tensions after this massive earthquake. King Durin III expresses regret over his rift with his son, while Disa pushes for new solutions in order to save their kingdom. I'll tell you what, Disa is an amazing character in this series, and I cannot wait to see what else she is going to bring to the table, because I think she's one of the most intriguing characters. She is definitely the woman behind Durin. We then head over to Elrond and Galadriel, and they are having a massive conflict. So Galadriel is actually seeking his support. Elrond's support to visit Eregion. But he also refuses because she wants him to go with him. But he believes that the rings bind them all to Sauron's influence. So he's still holding truth to what he believed in episode 1. Círdan then urges Elrond to reconsider the power and the full purpose of these rings. Heading back to the desert, we see the stranger. He is exhausted. He is literally dragging Poppy and Nori on like some type of tarp or something, and he ends up collapsing because of how tired he is. But luckily, Nori ends up finding I guess it's a well in the middle of nowhere. And it's funny because the first time I saw this, I thought it was like a mirage, but it was literally a well. And so they get him some water. They have a little laugh, which was a little bit odd considering that this dude, like, they thought that he was gonna die. But they have a little laugh, and then we see the dark wizards, scavengers, find him, and using the staff that he found in episode 1, he attempts to control a sandstorm, but this completely goes awry, and it separates Nori and Poppy from him. Heading back over to Celebrimbor, he has now decided to go down and talk to Halbrand, and he ends up letting him in, basically because Halbrand manipulates him. He reveals that the dwarves are struggling and proposing that the elves forge rings for men now. So Halbrand's true identity as Anatar, the Lord of Gifts, is dramatically revealed. And I'll tell you what, guys, this was an incredible scene as well. So you can definitely see where the money goes into this show. The CGI is just tip top. And, you know, I know there's not a ton of action in the show, at least as of right now. You know, we got a few episodes in season 1. But again, I look at this like Game of Thrones, where Game of Thrones gave us 8 or 9 episodes a season where, yeah, there's a fight here and there, but it's mostly about the conflict between all the different houses. And I know that there's no huge conflict. This is more or less evil versus good, and we're just trying to all get all these pieces. You know, think of a chess game. We're trying to move the pieces into the proper positions and to really have this huge mega battle. And the biggest things I see online about criticism with this show is that it's boring. Listen, if you don't know anything about the lore, I can understand people getting somewhat confused on exactly what's happening. You know, if you don't know anything about the lore, you have no idea who Anatar is. So I get it. Like, and sometimes maybe they don't explain things enough. But that's why you have me and tons of other YouTubers to break this down for you. So Anatar, like I said, is the Lord of Gifts, but basically it is another form, the elven form of Sauron. And now what's going to be interesting is we're going to have other characters meet this character, and they are not going to know that it's Sauron because they know Sauron to be in the shape of Halbrand. So I'm really looking forward to see what's going to happen with this moving forward into the next part of the season. After a couple different conversations that Galadriel has with Elrond and Gil-galad and Círdan, she then is given new orders to go ahead and visit Eregion because she wants to see what is happening over there, because they want to make sure that Celebrimbor is okay. Elrond agrees then to accompany her. Again, I mentioned this a little earlier in the video. They have a really odd moment because it's almost like they were setting up them to like kiss. And again, this is before this scene, but it was really strange for me. You know, she actually puts her hand on his chest and he basically pushes her away. But now that they're actually both going to go, we'll see if anything develops out of the relationship. At the end of the episode, we then see Durin and Disa, and they have received a letter that is an invitation to come to Eregion by Celebrimbor. And this is setting up the stage for a convergence of all of these key players as the episode ends. So the first couple episodes have really set up major tensions between the elves, dwarves, and the men, and Sauron is the influence of all of this. All right, guys, so it is time to rate episode 2, and although I did enjoy it, I definitely enjoyed episode 1 more. I just thought more happened with the continuation of where we stood, what has happened, and I just thought they did a really, really nice job bringing it all together and moving the plot forward. This episode was a little bit slower, but we do see there's more movement in the storyline with the stranger. We are introduced to the Dark Wizard, and again, when we get Anatar, that was awesome. Like, I absolutely love that scene. But I am going to rate this episode 3 Gandalfs out of 5.
You shall not pass! You shall not pass! You shall not pass!
All right, guys, let me know down in the comments, what did you rate this episode? Are you enjoying the series so far? I will be back on Friday with my review of episode 3. Don't forget, I will be live on Sunday, 7:45 p.m. Eastern, and we'll be breaking down episodes 3 and 4. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to keep those heads on, and I'll see you guys in the next video.